Before we get started with this epic upload, I just want to say a couple of quick things. First of all, thank you guys so much for 500 subscribers. We are over halfway to our goal of 1,000 by the end of 2020. Please subscribe if you haven't already to become part of the original fam. Secondly, I want to give a big shout out to one of my close friends who has really been helping out with my channel lately, Emerson. She has been helping me. She's been watching every single one of my videos. She's always right there, and she's just been such a big help. And so I want to say a huge thank you to Emerson. And yeah, okay, let's get into the Create This Book episode. Hi guys, it's Katie, and welcome back to my channel. Today is another Create This Book 2 episode. I'm really excited. This is already episode 9. We're almost halfway through this series, because I'm assuming it's going to be around 20 or 21 episodes. That is just crazy. I'm really excited to fill out a few more pages, so let's get started. Okay, so the first page today, once it's rotated, says create a line. Decorate this page using a long, continuous line. So I started getting out my book, thinking of ideas, and I started sketching this. It's supposed to be a lake and a waterfall, but like, literally, what is that? Ew. Luckily, that ends up getting covered up later.
We good.
Ew, did I literally just say we good? Why? So I got out some separate pieces of paper and I went along the same idea as that, but like I made it better because that was ugly, let's be honest. So here I am cutting it out to fit the shape, but you can still see the directions because I really always want to be able to see the directions, see what I was prompted to do, or else the whole line thing would not really make sense. But here I am starting to sketch out my design. So I decided to use watercolor for this because watercolors I feel like would work well for like a lake kind of scene, and I wanted the coloring to be good to distract from the craziness of the sketches because I would have to do it all in one line. So I know right now I am not drawing with one continuous line, but the actual Sharpie will be one continuous line. I'm not cheating,
I promise.
So I'm going for kind of a Bob Ross-esque kind of thing with a lake, a waterfall, and some trees in the background. I guess the rubber duckies are not really Bob Ross, but you know, YOLO. So while I was drawing these trees and kind of cheating online to find simple tree designs, I was trying to pick some that would look good when I knew it had to be all one continuous line. I knew that it would kind of end up looking really sketchy because that's what it was going to be because it was all one continuous line. So I was just trying my best here with the trees. I know they look a little uneven, but I kind of like the way that looks. It looks like modern art, you know? I'm pretty sure when Mariah Elizabeth, the author of the book, did this page, she did like each little drawing was a separate line. But when I start my drawing, my Sharpie presses down on the paper, I'm not going to lift it up once. I'm going to do the entire drawing in one line. So here comes the moment of truth. I'm about to set down my Sharpie. No going back from here. And so it begun. I didn't pick up my Sharpie the entire time, except for like if I did pick it up, it was just to rest my hand, and then I placed it right back down. As you see, it took me very little time because I just went over my sketch. There are some odd lines in there, like this one. It doesn't really make sense with the drawing, but I had to do it to get from one part of the drawing to the next. So then I got out my watercolors and started going in with them. So I was doing a really cool blue color for the lake, and then I started on the rocks and tried to do the best shading I could. I am not the best at watercolor shading, but I really wanted to try to experiment, especially with the water. So I was like adding yellow to the water, adding dark colors to the water, trying to make it overall look like a finished piece. So then I went over it with a coat of matte Mod Podge over the top just to protect the whole artwork. And this page, oh my gosh, I ended up really liking it. I think the watercolor came out so good, and like I think the line look is actually like kind of cool. And obviously I wouldn't do it like if it wasn't for the prompt, but I feel like it looks really interesting. And this is probably among my top 5 favorite pages. It is so cool. I'm really proud of it. And yeah, I would definitely do another thing kind of similar to this in the future. And spoiler alert, I do something similar to this already in this episode because I loved it so much. Create drips. So before I actually get started explaining what this page is going to be, my sister is playing ukulele downstairs. If you can hear off-tune ukulele, that's what that is. Okay, sorry. So here is what I'm doing. So basically for the create drips, I decided it'd be kind of fun if I literally did a faucet and had drips coming out of the faucet. So here I am drawing some faucets. I used like a picture online, tried to make like a cartoony looking faucet. And then I drew like some kitchen tiles, just to add like a kitchen or bathroom look to it.
I don't really know. I used kitchen tiles, but like it's kind of supposed to be a bathroom because it's a faucet. It could be a kitchen sink.
I'm rambling. Okay. So after I Sharpied the faucets, I started to fill in the tiles with black Sharpie, which wasn't as tedious as you would actually think, but you know, it did still take a decent amount of time. And then I started going with colored pencils and shading this in. Now somebody commented on one of my videos,
You need to get better art supplies to work with.
and I 100% agree with that comment. It was not like supposed to be a criticism comment at all. It was just saying like, yeah, I think like you could do much better art with better supplies. And I 100% agree. My colored pencils are pretty crappy, but like fancy art supplies are expensive, and I like to just kind of work with what I have. But my birthday is coming up, so I might get some better art supplies in the future to work with, which would be great. Anyways, I haven't mentioned what I've been doing. So I'm trying to get some watercolor in the colors of the rainbow, and then I'm like pressing down on the paper to try to drip it down to the page. It was all organic dripping. I didn't make it drip at all. And then I'm gluing it into the page once I finished doing all the drips. So I did like rainbow drips coming from the faucet. So here I am gluing it into the page. Notice how the page on the right has these red smudges on it. I honestly don't know where those came from. I think maybe like I had some red watercolor on my hands and I was touching the page. It's really annoying, but I can't really get rid of it, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it. But here's the final page. I added some Mod Podge off camera, and I do really like it.
Hey people.
So we're gonna be doing this page, which says create word illustration. Incorporate illustration into the word to show its meaning.
Example, write the word hot and add flames to the lettering.
But to make this a little bit more interesting, we are going to have the computer choose a random word. I will have no say what the word is. So, this is going to be interesting. Random word generator. Generate. Giant. Oh gosh. It's going to be a little difficult, but let's do it. So my idea for this page is a little bit, well, odd. So just bear with me. Essentially my idea was to literally draw a giant, because, you know, my word was giant, so I just draw a giant in the background. And then I decided to draw a giant goblin thing. I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's its own thing. It's its own creature. Essentially it kind of has like a goblin magical kind of look to it. It's green. It's holding one of those beater, whatever they're called. I wish I could have told myself as I was drawing this hideous, weird, but somehow happy thing that it would get better. The end result would not be too bad. But at this point, I was just like, what am I drawing? So I didn't want to leave this guy on the page all by himself. So I started drawing the lettering, thinking that might help. So I just decided to do not anything too fancy with the lettering and just do big blocks, especially because there was already going to be a lot of other stuff happening around it. And then I drew a bunch of clouds as if the whole thing was in the sky, because like of the stereotypical giants, they live like in the sky. Yeah. So I'm pretty proud of the way I shaded these clouds. I kind of like added a bunch of gray to it to make it look like a little more dimensional than just having like white clouds. So anyway, then I started moving on to drawing the goblin thing and the letters and stuff. So I just wanted to say this area down here ends up getting really weird because I wanted
The letter to go in front of the goblin, but I wanted the letter to go behind the clouds.
So then it's like kind of like half and half, and it just looks really weird, and like I kind of mess it up and I can't fix it. But yeah, just so you know, that part kind of looks odd, how it's like the G is just kind of disappearing. It looks good on the rest of the letters, but on the G it's just kind of weird. So then I move on to coloring the little skirt and doing the top of the body. At this point I'm like, okay, this doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's not great, but it could be worse. The head is like very, very cartoony, but you know what? Whatever. This is not my normal drawing. I don't normally draw this kind of thing, so cut me some slack. So now I'm drawing some more clouds, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of the letters. And yeah, this is going to take a little while. Just added the date, and there we go. I don't mind this page. It's not the best, not the worst. This one says, create and completion. Start drawing something on this page. Never finish it. So I told my mom that I was going to do one more page for my video, and I wanted her to pick one out. So I gave her the book, and I was like, pick out any undone page. And she picked this one, and I was like, Mom. Because I knew this one would trigger me to no end, because I hate not finishing stuff. But as you can see here, I went ahead and did it anyway, because, you know, my mom picked it. I gotta go through it, and eventually I'm gonna have to do it anyway. Okay, that was a long talk. But I'm drawing Olaf here. As you see, I left him unfinished, so I'm drawing him specifically in Frozen 2, in the scene where he's like, Samantha? I don't know a Samantha. I love Frozen 2, and I love Olaf as a character, and I just feel like he'd be fun to draw, and I'd never really drawn him before, so yeah, this was me drawing him for the first time. So I'm drawing the scenery with the birch and the plants around just like it is in the Frozen scene in the movie, and I have him in like the laughing position. As you can see, I did draw him in sketch all the way through, but then I did not do the Sharpie on all of him. I left pretty much the bottom half and his little head unfinished. So now I am pulling out my watercolors. I was coloring in the little red things, and this is actually sped up quite a bit because it took a long time to like get into those little crevices, but I tried to match the color as close as I could to the actual film color, and then I was also going to fill in the birch trees, which also took quite a while to get it all in those little crevices, but I'm really glad I did because I think it really pulls together in the end. So then for the background, I wasn't really going to draw the individual leaves, so I decided to just kind of jumble together a bunch of warm tones just to create a kind of fall blended together look. I added a little bit of detail to the birch trees, and I also added some more details to Olaf himself, like the inside of his mouth, but I did not fill in the arms or the buttons because I wanted to still leave Olaf unfinished, because it said to leave one thing unfinished, but it didn't say you had to leave the whole picture unfinished. So yeah, then I did Mod Podge, and I started to glue it into the page. As you can probably tell, that little part there does not fit. I didn't really realize that when I was originally doing it, and it's too late now, but I don't really mind it that much. It doesn't bother me too crazily, not as much as those unfilled buttons. But anyway, this is the final page. I actually do really like this page overall, and I would like it even more if I could have finished it.